Hey everybody, I'm Bede, aka the Terrible Australian of Super Podcasts, and welcome to the 14th edition of the Godzilla Diaries. For this one, I will be talking about the first two films in the Millennium period of the franchise, which are Godzilla 2000 and Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. So let's get right into it. Godzilla 2000. I should say the version I watched of this film was in fact the English dubbed version. When I put the DVD in of the film, I just assumed that it would have the both the original Japanese audio and as well as the English dub audio. But for some bizarre reason, the disc only had the dubbed version. It didn't have the Japanese audio at all, which is strange because all the other uh, films that I have on DVD all had both on each disc, but this one for some strange reason didn't. So this was other than say the two Americanized versions of Godzilla and the Return of Godzilla. Um, this is the only film in the franchise in which I only just watched the dub version. I didn't see the original Japanese version. So take my opinion as you will. I have to admit, I'm not sure whether it was the audio dubbing or not, but I'm not going to lie, I absolutely hated Godzilla 2000. I don't know if it was just what rubbed me the wrong way about it, but I just did not have a fun time watching this film from beginning to end. It just it goes for about nearly an hour and 40 minutes, and I was just bored by it the entire time. This one actually pretty much is again the third reboot in the franchise. This one completely ignores both the Showa series and the Heizo series, but the only thing that it still relates to is the very first film in '54. But even then, it's weirdly bizarre because it's not like Return of Godzilla where it's a sort of reboots the franchise, starts it all up again or anything like that. But this one, it almost feels like it's a sequel to a reboot that never even existed, because it just goes straight in the story. There's no setup at all, like why Godzilla is there or anything like that. It doesn't explain it at all, and I guess the film assumes that this version of Godzilla is actually the original one from the '54 film. It's not the second one that came out after that one. This is the '54 one that somehow lived and made it to this film. But yeah, this movie just bored me silly. I like I said, I didn't. I fe- I think the English dub probably ruined it for me, because if I saw the original Japanese audio, it probably didn't bother me too much. But even then, even if I did see it in the Japanese audio, I probably still would have felt the same anyway about this film. I didn't think the plot was interesting at all. I didn't think the characters were engaging, and it was just boring. Nothing happens in this film, and also the English dub was pretty bad as well, and the dialogue they create for the actors is just atrocious. And also they do bring in this is sort of they bring sort of another alien element to it, and that the government discovers this sort of alien vessel under the ocean that's been under there for about millions and millions of years, and then all of a sudden, once it was risen out of the ocean, it had wanted basically to take over the world, and or something like that. I don't know. I just found the plot too boring to even care. But one thing I will say, but it's weird though, because I don't know if it was just me, but the UFO in this movie, I don't know why, but it looked exactly like Sylvester Stallone's codpiece from Judge Dredd. That's what it looked like while I was watching the movie. And it's like, why is there a giant? Why is there a giant flying? Why is there a giant codpiece flying around in the air? It just was bizarre. And also, I have to say this: as much as I do love Godzilla, I hated the design of him in this film. I don't know what, he just looked awful. Like he just, I really sort of liked how they designed them in the Showa series, and particularly the Heiser series, which I think is probably my favorite design of the character. But in this one, he just looked terrible. It just was poorly designed, and he just looked ugly. He didn't look cool, or he kind of, they tried to make him, I guess, make him look a bit more eviler than the other versions, but I don't know. He was just was terribly designed, and I just didn't find anything about this film good at all. I really hated it, and it took me quite a while just to get through because wasn't engaged by it at all. It was just boring, 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 boring. Um, I would have to say after All Monsters Attack, this would have to be my least favorite of the series, and it's one I don't think I'll ever uh, watch ever again. Or at least if I ever see the original Japanese audio version. But even then, I probably won't even check it out anyway. So um, I can't even really talk about the performance, and since the film was dubbed over in English, I can't really say whether the actors' performances were good or not because, well, they were dubbed over, so I can't really say that. But there is a monster in the movie. I can't remember what the monster's name was. Olga, sorry. Yeah, they bring a new monster into the film by the name of Olga. Oh well, that was what the alien creature unleashed, the UFO unleashed on the planet. And the design of Olga is okay, but it's not particularly inspiring or anything. He kind of looks a little bit kind of like the Cloverfield monster, but just not as cool. So yeah, I really didn't like this movie at all. I really hated it. So if I had to give this one a rating, I definitely would give it 1 out of 5. I really did not like this movie at all. It was just crap, 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 crap. Now, other than that, on to the next one, which is Godzilla versus Megaguirus. Now, what's interesting about this movie, it's like with this movie is not a sequel, doesn't follow Godzilla 2000, or basically it's like this is actually, I guess, the true reboot of the two films, because the film begins by sort of explaining the history of Godzilla up to the point of this film, and you find out again, like, he did attack Tokyo in 1954 and somehow survived, and he's only ever attacked 2 more times since then. One in 1966 and once in 1996, and then in the present day of this film. So at least the movie gives us a bit more of a backstory of the Godzilla in this period of the series. But this one completely ignores all the events of Godzilla 2000. It basically just is a standalone film, even though they actually use the same suit from Godzilla 2000 in this one. This one is definitely was much a big improvement over Godzilla 2000, but at the same time, it's pretty average. Like, it is watchable, but I did feel like it was too long. Like, it goes for about 146 minutes, this one, and I feel like it could have just been trimmed by 10 to 15 minutes. There's a lot of padding in this one, and while there are some sort of good elements to it, but at the same time, it just didn't really engage me enough as it should have, and I didn't really find it that particularly entertaining either. Like, it is watchable, but it just if it sort of engaged me more both on a story, character, and entertainment value, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I did like the lead actress in the film, a soldier character by the name of Kiriko Tetsujimori. I'm sorry if I pronounce her character name in wrong, and she's played by an actress by the name of Misato Tanaka. I thought her character was definitely the more interesting aspect of the film, and I liked her sort of backstory because she's a soldier whose commander who was killed by Godzilla, and so she basically wants to sort of take revenge against him during the course of the film. And I thought her character was interesting, and also the acting in this one was pretty solid. Also, the film also features two actors who actually appeared in one actor who appeared in Mothra vs. Godzilla, and one actor from Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. They sort of so you get two veteran actors of the Godzilla franchise from the Showa period who appear in this film in two major roles, which I thought was pretty cool. And also you get a new monster, Megaguirus, like who I thought was okay. Like it's not a great monster by any means. But I did like, but it's sort of like Megaguirus starts out as being like the sort of prehistoric sort of insect, and who starts from an egg, and then eventually the eggs multiply to multiple versions of the creature, like a small size and all that, and eventually they sort of come together in this bigger version, and which I thought was pretty okay. So, but I have to admit, again I said earlier they used the same Godzilla suit from Godzilla 2000, which I still think is awful. And also one of the reasons I didn't like this one, I didn't care much for this one, and really didn't like this one, is that the series has started to bring in CGI, and I had nothing against CGI at all. I'm not one of those people who hates it, but the way it looks in this film is atrocious. Like, it's really budget CGI, and it just distracts the film, and it just brings so much attention to itself. And it's not just like for like some creatures, like some of the smaller versions of Megaguirus I'd sort of done in CGI, but also just the like green screen compositing in the back for the background, and just little bits like that here and there. It just looked really bad, and also the final sort of climactic scene in this one, while it has its moments or two here and there that were pretty cool, but overall it just wasn't that great at all. And neither was the end battle in Godzilla 2000 as well. And also there's subplots that kind of go nowhere. There's a subplot that involves a kid who found the egg that Megaguirus was in. Like, you think the kid's going to be a major prominent figure for the film, but basically he's discarded halfway through it. And we see him running from the city as Godzilla's attacking, and never see him again. But yeah, it like I said, it's watchable, but it's just forgettable. It's just sort of a mediocre, forgettable entry in the series. So if I have to rate this one, I give it about a 2.5. Yeah, so yeah, I have to say, like, this the Millennium period is not going too well for me so far. I haven't, like, the first two films didn't like, so I hope the next three, before Godzilla Final Wars, which I have seen, hopefully are good, because yeah, if it keeps going like this, this period is going to be my least favorite of the franchise. So yeah, well, that's it for this episode of the Godzilla Diaries. Keep a lookout very soon for the 15th edition, in which I will be talking about Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah all-out monster attack, and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. So keep a lookout for that one, and I'll see you all later. See you, everyone. Bye.